All right, what's going on YouTube? I'm gonna do a quick prediction video on tonight's fights. Okay, we got a lot of fights this weekend, and I didn't really do any breakdowns or anything for this weekend, so I'm just gonna do a quick. I'm just gonna run through all the fights and give you my thoughts on the fights real quickly. All right, we have the Frampton fight against Broner. We have Amir Khan against Philo Greco. We have and then we have the Broner card, which we got Broner and Vargas. We got Charlo and Centeno Jr. And we also have Gervonta Tank Davis against Jesus Cuellar. All right, so pretty good fights this weekend. Some fights, a couple of those fights are good. You know, not great, but let's start off with Frampton and Broner. You know, Broner at this point is about 35 years old. He's still a good boxer. Still has a power, you know, he still has a power, so he does have a puncher's chance in this fight. I think if this fight was, if Broner was, you know, if this was 5, 6, 7 years ago, I think Broner would probably have won, you know, but today he's just a little too slow. You know, I think Carl Frampton should be able to win, beat him to a decision. You know, that's just my pick. But Broner is always dangerous. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a flash knockdown in there, or he gets caught. Carl Frampton gets caught at some point with maybe a left hook or something, because he does drop his guard at times, and you can catch him at times. But I think Carl Frampton at this stage should be able to outpoint Nonito Broner. I mean, he should really win this fight. You know, he should be winning this fight at this point. You know, Broner at this point, you know, the top fighters that he's gonna face in that division, I expect him to lose, you know. But he has power, and he's still pretty good. It's just that he's way too slow at this point. He lost a good amount of speed over the years, you know, and he's taking some beatings. So I think Carl Frampton is going to go. I got him winning this one by decision, all right? Amir Khan against Philo Greco. Now, I do not, like, this is the thing with that fight. The press conference was funny. It was great. You know, it got me fired up. It even got me fired up. I remember watching it a couple months ago, and, you know, Philo Greco mentioned his wife and everything. I thought it was hilarious. I remember everybody on YouTube was talking about it. Listen, it was all fun. It's cool, but this is not a real fight, you know. Amir Khan has been beating guys. Every opponent he's had was, in the past decade, has been better than Philo Greco. You know, I know he's coming off of a layoff, a loss, a knockout loss. But Khan has been knocked out before. You know, I just, Khan, the gap in skills is too wide for me to really think. I see Philo Greco fight. I've seen him fight Sean Porter. I've seen him fight Errol Spence. You know, he can be a little awkward at times. People say he has a puncher's chance. I mean, every boxer has a puncher's chance, especially when you fight a guy that doesn't have the greatest chin. But Khan has beaten guys that, you know, have knocked out people. Knocked out good, better people, you know. Khan has beaten guys like Devin Alexander. He's beaten guys like Louis Collazo easily, you know. Khan has beaten plenty of fighters over the years that had power, you know, beat Zab Judah, you know. Khan has, even the weaker guys that he's faced were still way better than Philo Greco. Philo Greco is not that good. I'm not going to sugarcoat this shit. He's really not that good. He's not on the level of Amir Khan. If Amir Khan actually loses this fight, and if he were to lose, it would probably be by knockout. If Amir Khan loses this fight, he should really not be a funny. He should really consider retirement, because Philo Greco is probably the weakest opponent he's faced in the past decade. You can make an argument, you can make the debate that he is. You know, Amir Khan is one thing. He's been knocked out. He's taken some losses, but every fighter he's fought was on the majority of all these guys he's fought in the past decade were levels above Philo Greco. Okay, look, Philo Greco didn't beat anybody, and he's not that good of a boxer, you know, and he's not even that big of a puncher. You know, Chris Algieri rocked Amir Khan a couple of times, and I don't think Philo Greco hits any harder than Chris Algieri. You know, Chris Algieri is better than Philo Greco. You know what I'm saying? It's cool. It was funny. I think the fun already came and went. Now that we see in the fight, it's really not a real fight, in my opinion, right? It's good, you know, tune-up fight for Khan to get back, to get, you know, into the ring and everything, but it's not a real fight. All right, so now let's talk about this Broner card to start off with. Cuellar and Tank. I've been watching a lot of Tank interviews and paying attention to everything that's going on with Mayweather and the Charlos and Lomachenko. Everybody's talking about Lomachenko. Everybody's talking about this fight. Nobody's talking about Cuellar. And Cuellar is a good fighter. I think this is any other period. If this was a year or two ago, I think this would be a more talked about fight because this is a good matchup. But everybody's interested in Lomachenko, what's going on with Floyd, and the drama that's going on right now. This is a good fight, and I can't believe they're actually fighting. But Tank, if Tank is ready and he's focused, he's saying, he moved out of Baltimore and everything, which is good, which is what Floyd wanted him to do. All right, I'll talk about all that in another video, another time. Tank should be able to do it. Tank has a talent. He's very, very talented, and he has power and he has speed. I expect Tank to do better against Cuellar than Abner Maris did against Cuellar. Tank should be able to outbox him. He should be able to hurt him. Cuellar is a beast. Okay, he's a beast. But he has power, strong fighter. Front foot, heavy fighter, entertaining. But Tank should be able to catch him, hurt him, outbox him at the least. I think the only thing that's really dangerous for Tank is if he starts to slow down, gets a little sloppy, starts getting hit a little too much. I've seen that in fights. If he gets a little sloppy and his condition is not well, don't sleep on Cuellar. All right, he's definitely a beast. He's definitely gonna come after you as long as the fight is going. He ain't no chump. But I got Tank winning this, and I think Tank can possibly stop him. Tank hits hard. He hits hard. Tank is a good chance Tank might stop him, but I mean at the least Tank should win this by decision at the very least. But I'm expecting Tank to hurt him at some point. That's just my opinion. Centeno against Charlo. Centeno, I've seen him fight. If this was about 5, 6, and it seems like I keep saying that. If this was about 5, 6 fights ago, he would have been a good fight for Charlo. Not at this point. He's too slow. He's too slow. Charlo's been fighting better fighters than him. Even though J-Rock was beating Centeno pretty easily until that fight got stopped. I just don't see Centeno's just not on his level. Centeno is a good fighter, but I don't see him as a championship level fighter. I don't really see him winning a title. And if he were to win a title at 160, he would be like the weakest title holder, It's no disrespect. I'm not trying to disrespect the guy. It's just he's not that good. He has light legs and everything. So if anything, he can use his footwork to get away and avoid Charlo. Charlo, I don't think Charlo's that great at hunting people down. But Charlo's jab alone should be enough to neutralize Centeno. Centeno, he's too slow. He has a decent left hook, but he's too slow. He doesn't have the greatest jab. He moves pretty well. That was the only thing I really noticed about him that he does well. Okay, he moves pretty well, so he could get in and out at times. But Charlo's jab is going to be the factor in this fight. And Charlo's going to come over with that right hand. Come over the top with the right hand, and he's going to land at some point. He's going to hurt Centeno. I expect Charlo to win this fight. It's not much talked about fight anyway. This is pretty much a fight that Charlo has to do for the WBC and everything. Centeno has been around, but I knew Centeno, as soon as he fought an elite fighter, he was going down. There's so many guys above him at 160, in my opinion. So let's talk about the main event, which is actually the best fight of this weekend, the only real fight, of this weekend. I think this is a fight that can go either way. And Adrian Broner fights, it's always hard to call at times because I think a lot of us expected so much from Adrian Broner at some point. And a lot of us keep saying that he's not focused and all that. Now, I'm kind of tired of saying that. I'm tired of saying it. The problem with Broner is his lack of volume. Okay. When I think Broner in his best moments in boxing, I do think that at his best points, he had the potential to be something, Uh, I've seen him do things that was greater than what Vargas can do. Okay? But we get little short periods of that. You know, we get a round of that. We don't get those fights. We get certain rounds where he looked like he could have been great. All right? That's not enough. That's not how boxing really works. You know, when you get, and I'm not going to even bring up his losses. I really don't have to. But when we talk about the fights that I thought he barely won, like the Ponce de Leon fight back in the day, like the Paulie Malignaggi fight, like the recent Adrian Granados fight. Those are fights that he didn't lose, but they were like, he barely won each one of those fights. And I think Jesse Vargas would beat those three guys. I think Jesse Vargas is a tougher fight than those three guys. Jesse should win this fight at this point. If this was Jesse from 140, I would still give Broner the edge in a close fight. But Jesse at 147, I know he lost to Tim Bradley. I know he lost to Manny Pacquiao. But I'm looking at what he did against Saddam Ali. And that should be a good enough to pull, barely edge this fight. Because of his volume. I know he's basic. He's not, exciting. He's a 1-2 punch fighter. That's it. He's basic, but, he's aggressive. He could be aggressive at times. And he's going to be consistent. He's going to fight throughout the whole fight like that. Broner has to be on his A+ game to win this fight. And he might be. But it still might not be enough. I think Vargas is going to win. I think he's more focused. I think all this stuff Broner's doing in the press conference is entertaining, it's cool. But we've seen him do that stuff and much more. Like, people are talking about it at this point. I'm like, dude, he's done way more stuff than this leading up to the fight. I don't care about that stuff. He's lost fights with all this and jumping around, all that talking. That's cool. But Vargas is a real fighter, man. And even though I think this is going to be a great fight, whatever way it goes, I just hope the judges call it fairly. But this is a fight that both fighters really need to win. Because if Jesse Vargas loses this fight at this point, people are going to look at him like, all right, you know what? He's just a gatekeeper. If Jesse Vargas loses this fight, he's just a gatekeeper. If Adrian Broner loses this fight, at this point, he's just the name, and he's just, he's no more. He should no longer be mentioned he shouldn't even be mentioned with the elites if he is to lose this fight. So both fighters need to really win this fight badly, Both of them need to win this fight. They need to win. Mentally, I have to pick Vargas. I have to pick him. Like, when he talks shit, he actually means what he said. Broner, I'm not really sure. A lot of it's just hype. I don't really know. I can't really rely on Broner. I think the best of Broner beats the best of Vargas. But I don't even think Broner is at his best at this point. I think he did good against Mikey. I think he did good as far as, him being prepared. All right. I think he was really prepared for that fight. So I'll give him that. At least I believe he did. I just think Mikey's better. Mikey was just a better fighter that night. Jesse Vargas, even though he's bigger than Mikey, I don't consider him to be better than Mikey. But, I think he's just barely good enough to pull off the win. So I got Vargas winning this by maybe even a split decision. I think this might be a split decision or a draw. Whoever comes out, I think this might be a split decision or a draw. I don't see anyone getting stopped. Both of them are tough. They are tough, and they both can survive while getting their ass kicked. We both seen that. We've seen that plenty of times. Even Jesse at 140. He got a couple gifts when he's back at 140. All right? So I got Vargas winning. I got Charlo winning. I got Tank winning. I got Frampton winning, and I got Amir Khan blowing this guy. I don't even know why. Hey, if Amir Khan loses, he sucks. Straight up. Amir Khan should wash this boy up. All right, so those are my picks. I'll see you guys after the weekend. Peace.